Since Governor Parsons has taken office, he's been in office just over 100 days now. He's from Southwest Missouri. I think it's going to be great for our area, for Southwest Missouri, for rural communities, because he knows rural Missouri. He knows what we need, what we're talking about. A couple things that he's focused on is infrastructure, and he's also focused on jobs, economic development. So he really just wants to get in there and make sure that our roads and bridges are where they need to be. They've kind of been neglected the last couple of years, and so he's really focused on making sure that we get the funding that can benefit from federal funding coming in, so that way we're not losing money to other states, but that way we can match what we need to match in order to draw down our federal dollars. And then the other thing is economic development, really focused on making sure that our kids have a great education all the way from high school through whether they decide to go into a jobs program or whether they decide to go to college. He wants to ensure that we've got great opportunities for those students and for individuals who maybe have lost their job to refocus their career and to help them move forward, so that way we can have a successful Missouri and make sure that we have the jobs out there and people are prepared for the jobs that are out there and that are available. This year, our budget was a little bit better than it was the last couple of years. We've had some deficits the last couple of years. This year, we had a surplus, and we were able to put money back into some programs that unfortunately had to be cut during those deficits. But we had record funding again this year for K-12 education. $6.1 billion is what we put into the K-12 system. We're also able to put more money back into our higher education that took a hit in the last couple of years. So currently, our budget is a little bit lower than what we expected. We expected a 2.5% growth. We're a little bit lower than that right now, but the Department of Revenue thinks that they figured out what the problem is. We have such a huge growth in our economy and in jobs. We have record low unemployment. So the revenue is coming in. We just think that the department has messed up on the figures, and so we're looking forward to seeing what the true numbers are. I worked on a bill that was passed, House Bill 2314, dealt with government labor unions. It holds government unions accountable to the members. It basically just requires on an annual basis that the union get an annual authorization from its members to say, yes, I still want money being deducted in order for dues, and yes, I still want money being deducted to go to political purposes. It makes public sector unions submit the same financial records to the state of Missouri, so that way its union members can look at the financial documents, and so they can decide to opt out if they so choose. But what it also requires on a 3-year basis, have a recertification election. And the last thing, I think the most important thing, is it holds the unions accountable to the people. It also provides transparency on bid negotiations and contract negotiations. So that way we know how the money is being spent, how the contracts are being negotiated. It makes those public record, and it allows individuals from the community to make input on those. The governor called us into special session on 2 pieces of legislation. He vetoed that he didn't like some of the language that was in the legislation. He thought that there was too much fluff in it, and so he decided to veto it. Rather than us overriding it, we decided to come into special session and change some of those things. We removed some of the things that he didn't like. Those 2 bills, one of them dealt with STEM education, making a new program for 6th through 8th grade students that would make them more aware of the career opportunities that are out there for STEM. This legislation also allows high school students to use 1 credit of either math, science, or arts to be replaced with a computer science class. So that way we can focus on those computer sciences where we have much needed jobs, much needed training that needs to happen in order for businesses to be successful. The second bill that we did dealt with treatment courts and making sure that we have access for everyone, more Missourians for treatment courts, because if we can get individuals into the treatment courts, it's only going to serve our state better. It's going to reduce costs in jails and in prison. It's going to reduce the populations. And if we can get people the treatment that they need and that they want, it's going to reduce the recidivism rate. It's going to reduce population in jails, and it's going to be good for our state.
I think this was billed as my farewell address. I would really prefer it to be my thank you address. I believe I missed last year's State of the Community. I think that's the first one I've missed as far as I know since we've been having them. I can remember several years ago when the school and the city had a meeting together, and it was mentioned, I don't know who came up with the idea, the state of the community, and Peggy Taylor in Peggy Taylor fashion just took it and ran with it, and the next thing I knew we were having these every year. It's been great. I've enjoyed coming to them and participating in them. When you include my park board, city council, mayor, planning and zoning, and legislative career, I've done about 30 years now of public service to Nixa. And I've enjoyed every minute of it. In the legislative time, I've gotten numerous plaques and awards over the years, which I have appreciated every one of them. But nothing has been anywhere near as important to me as the folks at home who have repeatedly sent me either to City Hall or to the state capitol to represent them. And I truly mean that is the biggest honor of my life. And I have a lot of friends that are sitting in that crowd, people that I've known for many, many years. And I truly, truly appreciate them. I've gotten more out of it than I've had to give. The public service part is what has been important to me and what has kind of motivated me. So I truly do appreciate that. You have given me more than I could ever give you. I'm never going to disengage from Nixa. I'm always going to be around. I'm always going to be engaged. I love this town and I love the people in it. God bless you, and thank you so much for what you've done for me.
People are always interested in growth, and as usual, the growth in Christian County continues at a rapid pace, and possibly accelerated. In 2017, our building permits totaled out with a 16% increase over the prior year, 2016. And today, in September, 63 permits issued, and the projection is again that we will exceed last year's permits by a total of 100. Various municipalities, cities, and businesses have joined together to form a cooperative, and it's called Show Me Christian County. Christian County is one of the founding members. We fully participate, and we are expecting a groundbreaking very soon of one of our first success stories. You can't ignore the impact that the mill project is going to have on Christian County. It's going to be tremendous. We're all anticipating completion of that, eager to see what that brings for us in the future. I feel like our roads are in better shape than ever. So far, we have either hot mixed, chip and sealed, or blade patched 49, almost 50 miles of road this year. And the money we spent on roads this year, $2 million. That's the highest we've ever appropriated and spent. We've built one elevated bridge and numerous at-grade or slabs. We have a new building going up. It'll be the Christian County Courts building. It will have Division 1 and Division 2 circuit judges in there, and the prosecutor's office. Additional parking spaces are going to be provided off the square, and the county is building those lots, and we'll share them with the public. As far as operations, the county, we now have e-based purchasing and accounting. Currently, our revenues during this year, at the time I'm talking to you, are at 86% of projected. Normally, we would be at 75%, and so the revenue is coming in a little better than what we budgeted for. Total revenue is up 5.7%. As of September, our sales tax is up 3%. So the county is healthy. Our expenses are 6.7% below what we had budgeted for. So this will be my final year as a presiding commissioner, and I just have to say I've enjoyed it, and thanks everybody.
Busy as usual. The county is still growing at a fast pace, and we're on track to answer about 33,000 calls for service this year, which is up about 3,000 from last year. We are issuing about 60 new addresses a month in the county, which equates to about 60 new homes in the county per month. So that's one of the biggest things we're dealing with now is the growth of the county and the population growth, and one of our bigger challenges at this time. The revenue is holding about stable, but the county is growing, and the need for public safety and our services is growing. So we're facing that challenge every day, and we're meeting it head on and doing the best we can to provide the services. One of my main goals when I was elected sheriff was to set up a satellite office in each school district. We have primarily done that, but we've moved beyond that now, and we do have a school resource officer in 5 of the 7 schools throughout the county. With the implementation this year of a school resource officer in the Billings School District and the Chadwick School District. And we are also moving forward to implement the last 2 school districts. I look for the addition of the Spokane School District next year. We're still dealing with our issues in the jail and our overcrowding, but we're implementing policies and procedures and working with the courts to do our best to accommodate the jail population.
You know, I took over as executive director of the Nixa Area Chamber of Commerce. It was back in March of this year, and really excited to come off the road of my previous employment, but to be able to give back to my community. I had served 6 years on the city council and had a very good understanding of the city government, and I knew the opportunities that our chamber had. And our chamber had been doing a fairly good job with different activities, and yet it needed a little bit of a reboot, and that's exactly what we've been working on, is to really truly take the Nixa Chamber of Commerce in a different direction that's a lot more beneficial to not only the members but also our community. So one of the very first things I had the good fortune of doing was getting with our board of directors, and we did an all-day retreat where we dove into a room and we redid or come up with our new mission, vision, beliefs, perspectives, our new positioning statement. And one of the things that I'm really most proud of is our new core values. So that new mission statement was simple. It's the mission of the Nixa Area Chamber of Commerce is to be recognized as the premier business organization by influencing Nixa and the greater Ozarks area through leadership and education, all while focusing on economic and business development. And then, of course, once we fulfill a mission, we have a vision. And that vision is to be the Nixa Chamber of Commerce to be the leading advocate for business and economic opportunity. Now, those 4 core values that is really truly guiding all of the different activities and things that we're doing in our chamber right now. And wow, we have a lot. We have our working women in Nixa. We have the X-Men, which is the exceptional businessmen in Nixa. We launched a new group called the Nixa Young Professionals this year, and that's taking off very, very well. We changed our coffee events to become Nixa Learning Cafes, so now we have the Nixa Chamber Learning Cafes. We brought back the golf tournament. We are bringing back a banquet that's coming up on December the 7th because we're celebrating our 30th anniversary as the Nixa Chamber of Commerce. We've enhanced our ribbon cuttings. We've improved how our Nixa Chamber ambassadors are functioning and the more benefit that they get to be a part of the ambassador program. So we've made a lot of fun and exciting changes. And another one that we're doing to go along with the traditional Be Local for Shop Local was hashtag Experience Nixa, and more specifically Shop and Dine hashtag Experience Nixa, drawing attention to the community that, wow, we have great places to come and shop and to dine, and I can come and spend a day and enjoy myself and my friends and my family and check out some things in Nixa. And all that kind of came about because of those 4 core values, which the first one's attract, right? So we're attracting diverse businesses and industrial and community organizations to our area, and that's going to develop new leaders and cultivate our local talent and our local economy. So we want to be focused on that. We also want to make sure that we continue one of the main jobs of a chamber, and that's connect, right? So connecting our people together, connecting area businesses and professionals to numerous networking opportunities through events, seminars, training, whatever you can do to get people together. We're working hard to make that happen. If you visited one of our Nixa Chamber luncheons this year, you saw a major improvement in how we function at our Nixa Chamber luncheons. And of course, growing. We got to help our businesses grow, right? We can start a business, but let's help them get to the next level, not only to help our local community and our economic opportunity, but to help them fund their lives, right? So we are growing local businesses and strengthening our local economy by providing all the available resources through training, education, coaching, and other dynamic resources designed to stimulate business development, retention, and expansion. So that's the Grow initiative. And our 4th one is engage. I think our chamber was missing an opportunity to be that centralized group or partnership with the community to basically bring everybody together. So we're focusing on engaging our members, the community, city leaders, and county economic development efforts to be the driving force, creating awareness to shop locally, start new businesses or new industry, and fully supporting all of our local organizations. So our nonprofits, such as our Lions Clubs and our Rotaries, and so many out there, so many great groups, Christian County least of these, working with our city, working with the school district. And this year alone, we'll be able to forge a lot of new partnerships with each and every one of those local organizations that's cultivating and fulfilling our belief system, which our belief system is to expand membership. We have to be growth minded. We're looking for people to say, wow, look what the Nixa Chamber's doing. Let's become a member. Let's upgrade our membership. Let's sponsor this event. We need those partnerships. Also, to retain members, increase chamber team structure and leadership. We want to enhance chamber partnerships with government and other organizations, provide information and resources to our members and to the community at large, and most importantly, expand community support for our chamber members. We want to be that voice for our chamber members. When they have an issue or a challenge or an opportunity, we want them coming to us. So that's what's happening with the Nixa Chamber of Commerce, and we're looking forward to a very outstanding and growth-oriented and thinking big 2019.
We had so many new people in the area, I did want to mention a couple of quick things. The Nixa Fire Protection District is a standalone organization. We're not part of the city government. We are roughly the same size as the school district, and we're governed by a 5-member board of directors, just as similar to what operates the way the school district does also. We have a couple of things I'd really just like to spend some time talking with you about. The first one is to give you a little update on, we obtained a grant from FEMA, which is called the Staffing for Adequate Firefighter and Emergency Response. This is going to allow us to hire 3 additional firefighters, which we had slated to hire in the years 2020 to 2021. What this is going to allow us to do is put those on 3 years earlier. One thing I wanted to tell you about that program, we've been working originally with the state in the last 2 years on doing a military in transition program for our new hires. And what that did was bring active service military members, people from the Guard, Reserve, into the fire service. So people that are looking to transition out of a military career and offering them a career in the civilian world, if you will. It has fallen apart at the state level, primarily due to the fact that we had a previous governor who was a big supporter of the program, and he's no longer in office. But we locally have decided that we're going to pick up the program and run with it. So I did want to let the community know we do have some active duty military people that are looking to apply for these safer grant positions, and we're very proud of seeing that program through. Really, the only other thing that I wanted to talk about with you all tonight particularly was the way that we try to handle growth within the district. We've got growth happening again in our area, which is fantastic, but with great growth or great opportunity comes great challenge. And in that challenge, it's trying to keep up with the services that we are providing. Unfortunately, our tax revenue, we don't get till a couple of years after people have moved into particularly new construction houses. So we're always having to play catch up. The approach that we've tried to take as an organization is controlled growth and strategic planning. They're the 2 keys, we believe, to offering the services that we need to offer in a timely manner. So a couple of elements of that I'll talk about. In 2015, we passed a bond. It was a small bond, $2.5 million over a 10-year period. Whenever we campaigned for that, we told the people that we believed that we could build a new station and we could purchase our ladder truck for about 8 cents additional tax revenue from each household. Whenever we began to run the numbers and we began to have growth, we figured out that we could actually do that for a little bit less than what we told people. Now, the state authorized us or allowed us to raise as much as 11 cents. However, the board of directors and administration of the department decided that wasn't the right thing to do. So I'm going to tell you tonight, over the last 3 years, we have not even collected the 8 cents that we told you that we would. It was 0.079 cents. Now you say, Chief, that's just 1/10 of a cent, and you're absolutely correct. But it saves our taxpayers $5,000 a year across the entire community. And if we were to collect the 11 cents, that's $140,000 that we could be collecting that we've chosen not to collect. All of that to say, by controlling the growth strategically planning for what we have in the future. That's how we approach our community. It's a win-win. We look for those win-win opportunities. So I really want to encourage everyone in the community, all of our organizations, if we continue to look for win-win situations. That's not what's happening at the national level, but we can do that at the local level. I really want to encourage everyone, let's continue to look for those win-win situations, and in the end, our community will grow and will be strong all in the same time.
We want to start by thanking the community for passing our use tax this last April. That really gives us an opportunity to have a level playing field for both our local businesses to compete with those online businesses like Amazon and to be able to provide the services that the residents of Nixa expect. One of the key things the city's working on is economic development. We have a lot of interesting things that are coming up on that. One of the focuses we have is with our downtown revitalization, and that group's been doing some wonderful things, as you can see from the new buildings that are being redone down there, the new businesses that are coming in, and so we're really excited about that. One of the things City Council is working on is to have a grant facade program. And what that'll do is allow existing buildings in the downtown area to have new businesses come in and update the outside of those buildings. An element of our strategic plan is community engagement. We've been working on that this last year. We have our update, which is a meeting that we hold at the senior center once a month to be able to give out information to those senior residents that may not have access to the internet. We also started Nixa Next, which is a program for young adults to get them involved in the community and see what their needs are. And you also may have seen our Footloose video, where we had over 1 million views on the internet going viral and having people from around the world being able to see what policemen in Nixa are doing and how they're engaging in the community. The city also just won its second consecutive Innovation Award from the Missouri Municipal League. That makes 3 out of 4 years where Nixa has been recognized by that organization for being one of the most innovative communities in Missouri. Lastly, the biggest thing that Council's been working on is the hiring of a new city administrator. After the retirement of Brian Bingle, after his 20 years of service to the city of Nixa, we've spent the last 10 months trying to find that right person. The city administrator makes the last element of that new level of leadership that's coming into Nixa. Dr. Loden, Andrea Seitz with Show Me Christian County, Chris Russell with the Nixa Chamber, and now Jimmy Lyles is our new city administrator. City Council is very proud of the work they put into that. We did 2 nationwide searches, had over 100 applicants, over 25 finalists, and 12 in-person interviews. We may have thought that we would find someone maybe a little bit farther from home, but we're all very excited to have Jimmy on board in that position. We think he's going to do a great job going forward.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Lyles, and I am the new city administrator for the city of Nixa. You know, I've spent the last 19 years working for the city within the police department as a police officer and had the privilege and honor to serve the community as the chief of police over the last 5 years. And I can tell you that I am extremely honored and humbled that City Council and the mayor chose me as the new city administrator. I'm looking forward to serving this community in the new role and working with members of this community along with city staff in leading Nixa into the future. The city of Nixa is continuing to experience large residential growth. As a matter of fact, so far in 2018, we have approved 261 lots to be built across 6 subdivisions. As a matter of fact, we also currently have 331 lots under construction across 8 different subdivisions. Of course, with that residential growth comes a lot of challenges. You know, we have to make sure that we are keeping up with the infrastructure and the strain that it puts on our services, such as the parks and the police. And that is why we are partnering with the Nixa Chamber of Commerce and Show Me Christian County to ensure that we are focusing our efforts on the future and really looking closely at economic development to ensure that we are bringing the commercial growth and the place of work that this community needs to succeed. Nixa Utilities went through a lot of change in 2018. We actually rebranded City Utilities and came up with a new logo and a brand new slogan, Count on Us. This slogan reassures our commitment to the community that we are going to provide reliable services and also provide excellent customer service. Also in 2018, the new solar farm went online. As a matter of fact, in 2018, the solar farm provided approximately 9% of the city's electrical power. The new solar farm helps ensure that we're providing clean, cheap, and renewable energy moving forward into the future. You know, in 2018, the utility department also sold the transmission line, but kept the distribution line. The distribution line allows us to continue to bring electricity to the homes and the businesses. And the sale of the transmission line actually afforded the city $10 million to reinvest back into the utilities and help ensure that we're putting money in to ensure that we have solid infrastructure moving forward. The Public Works Department has been very busy ensuring that we are becoming ADA compliant. We are currently examining all of our sidewalks and buildings within the city to make sure that we are being as accessible as possible as a city. Our street department has been very busy as well. You've probably noticed our very first roundabout going in at the corner of Gregg and Northview. It's just another way that Nixa is trying to be innovative to ensure that we're preparing for any future growth. We've also got a lot of big MoDOT projects coming our way in the near future. You'll soon notice construction will begin on the widening of 14 Highway, both east and west of 160. We're also looking at some big projects to improve intersections along 160. The police department has some very exciting changes going on in 2018 as well. They just went through a restructuring which will allow them to make sure that they're prepared for any future growth of the department. They've also just completed the latest staffing study, which will help them judge the need for additional personnel to keep up with the residential growth that the city is experiencing. Along with that, you may have seen that they've launched their very first Facebook page. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, make sure you get on there and like their page. In 2018, the Parks Department partnered with OTO to help develop possible routes for future trails across the community of Nixa. In 2019, the Parks Department will be working on a master plan for the development of the brand new O Family Century Farm Park. We're very excited to see what this development process will bring and help us envision what the new park will look like. I can't tell you how excited I am to work with city staff and partner with members of this community to ensure that we're all working together to bring Nixa to that next level.
Hi, I'm Gerald Loden, Superintendent of Nixa Schools. I'd just like to welcome you to our State of the Community. As the new superintendent, of course, this is my first State of the Community, and I got to say that just being in the district and working in the community and being part of the community has been a great experience so far for my family. I'd like to thank the community for welcoming us into Nixa and Christian County. My wife and two boys have just enjoyed being a part of the community and part of the schools and participating in the school and community events, and being an outsider and moving into Christian County. Programs like tonight's program where we have the State of the Community are special, and one of the signs that we're living in a special place where you have great partnerships. And as a school district superintendent, I've made several comments to my friends that have worked with me in previous years about how you have great partnerships, whether it's in the schools with your safety committee or your monthly meetings that you have with the city and other chamber and other officials, that there's a lot of working together and collaboration. And I think we'd all agree that in Christian County and in Nixa, when we're looking at education is a strong factor in us being an attractive place for people to live and learn. And then on top of that, when you look at economic development, we have great people working hard for economic development, and the schools are a vital part of that in the city and the chamber and others as we work together, and the commissioners. And then when you just look at quality of life and planning for quality of life, you may have parks, you may have bike paths and trails and wellness centers and aquatic centers or different things that you look for now or in the future. But the schools are a vital part of attracting people into our community and retaining stakeholders. And just very pleased to be the superintendent and be a part of our administrative team, from the board and all the way from the administration, and with the teachers working together and staff working together to serve our kids and to make sure that our children have well-rounded experiences, that they are engaged in the schools and learning, and not just learning the basics, but taking learning and exploring careers and opportunities, and looking at our children's God-given talents and helping them to figure out the talents that they have and how to use them, so when they leave us they'll have choices whether they would like to go to college or enter the workforce and a career. We're partnering with our community to work together. The exciting part of being the new superintendent is just being able to be on a daily basis out and about in their school buildings and being able to, see learning and taking place, and to see the well-rounded programs that we have, and to go to athletic events and other events, and just looking at our campuses and knowing that even though the vast majority of our buildings have been constructed over the last 20 years, and just knowing that they've been well maintained and that our Board of Education, previous administrations have done a great job of using the taxpayers' dollars to take care of our facilities that we have. As a superintendent, it's exciting to say that there's already a 10-year master plan in place for our facilities, and we have an FCAP plan that's been developed and vetted that takes care of your operational needs as far as the internal parts of your buildings. And looking to the future, I think people are going to see that there's going to be some changes probably as far as bond issues in the future compared to what we've had in the past, where we have steady growth now. It's projected to be about 100 new students a year. Even though this year alone we have 160 new students, so we'll be monitoring the trends. We're looking at our buildings with them being older, needing to focus on like you would with your home. Around year 20, you start looking at your home. We need a new air conditioning system. We need a new roofing system. Are the windows out there now more efficient? Do I need to upgrade my windows? And with our FCAP plan, we already have kind of a layout as far as the needs of our buildings to make sure that we have quality flooring, paint, roofing, restrooms, ceilings. Probably not as exciting to say as saying, hey, we're building a brand new state-of-the-art school, but we do need to maintain the buildings that we have and make sure that they're conducive to learning, and that as learning trends change, making sure that we're tweaking our buildings so they're more modern in feel, and the children are able to learn in a quality environment that has quality lighting, good paint schemes, and other things. Knowing that we're at a record of 6,400 students now, we're probably looking at additions at some of our elementaries over the next few bond issues to make sure that we're keeping up with the growth. And then, especially at the high school, when you look at our high school, it's funny because people are always asking, how do you like the high school? And they reference the high school as being the new high school. And I don't believe they're thinking that and realizing the high school is almost 20 years of age. And the official numbers from the first year when the high school opened had about 1,012 students. And today we have 1,700 students. And it was originally designed for around 1,800. And then in the band, we had 130 students the first year, and now we're close to 280 members in the band. So lots of our programs, the band, the art, the music type programs have expanded. You have more sports programs, more kids involved in sports now. If you've been to a football game on Friday night, you stand in room only. So we have great community support for athletic programs. And just knowing that we continue to have well-rounded programs and that we have the facilities that are state-of-the-art and to meet the needs of our music and arts program and our athletic programs. As we plan for the future too, just looking at the new trends with STEM and technology, making sure that our facilities are adequate to meet the needs of our kids. Excited to look at the buildings and know that there's lots of people dreaming about the future, and that we have a good plan in place for the facilities. And then in the next couple of years, we'll be working on a new CSIP plan where the communities will all be working together to shape the future for the next 5 years. The district's commitment to having community and non-community based FEMA shelters. And even though we don't have shelters on all of our campuses currently, we have made application for the next round of federal funding, and hopefully we'll have a few more shelters on our campuses, which will allow us to hopefully one day not have to worry about tornadoes and tornadic events when our children are on campuses, which is a goal of the district, a good commitment of the administration and the board working together. We're off to a great start as a new superintendent. Can't thank Dr. Kay and the board enough for working with me during the transition, and the team that we have just to make this a great transition. And who knows, we may have year-round schools, we may have a school for the arts, we may have who knows what. And that's the beautiful part about strategic planning. You know something big's coming, something's going to help us to continue to evolve and be a leader like we always have. I'll end by saying, academics are a foundation. And I'd like to make sure all of our community members know that Niche, which is a national rating company that looks at academics and well-rounded programs and sports and even the safety and cafeteria side of your schools, has just recently named us the top district in the Metro Springfield area and the 14th best overall district in the state. And we're in a state with over 500 districts, so I believe that says a lot about the ongoing commitment of the people in Nixa to our schools and support of our schools. And just want to thank all of our leaders here tonight and community members for the support they provided us.